Hello, I am the organizer advisor and welcome. My goal and mission is to help you enhance your happiness and transform your life. And I do this through a multi-tiered system that I designed using my skills as a professional organizer, a professional certified life coach, as well as the owner and operator of a professional cleaning service for many years. All of those strategies I dovetail together to create a process that I call transformational organization. And it includes daily health and beauty routines to enhance the way we look and feel, and as well as our health. It includes a wardrobe restructuring, which enhances our outer appearance and the way it enhances our confidence and our self-esteem, because we have restructured our wardrobe to reflect our authentic self, to make it easy to get dressed, to reduce the getting dressed stress, and to combine really dynamic outfits that express our authentic self. We also, every nook and cranny, clean our home using a strategy I call the Compass Rose strategy. And then this allows us to focus on one wall at a time so that we can deep clean a room without becoming overwhelmed. We also document organization, so we have the documents that are required for us to be able to do business or run our homes effectively. And then lastly, what I call thematic organizing, which is organizing specific groups of items in our homes so that we can know what we have, know what works, and be able to access them through creating a dedicated space. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about thematic organizing, or organizing specific groups of items in our homes. For example, like your handheld devices and all the accessories that come with those. So you could have, your smartphone, your tablet, and all of those accessories. That would be a themed item or a group of items that we would gather together, and then we would organize and then create a dedicated space. So I'm going to talk about the 5 steps to organize these types of items, and I'm going to use the handheld devices as kind of an example throughout all the steps. So first step is going to be gather, and I'm going to overview the steps, and then I'll do a longer explanation for each step. So we're going to gather all of the similar items together in all the areas of our home. We're just going to do like a little safari. So you're going to grab a bin, basket, or box, and you're just going to gather them. So then the next step is we're going to group them by categories. So we're going to look at the categories that emerge from the items that we have gathered. Step number 3 is we're going to go through and clean. So 2 parts. Go through. We're going to go through and we're going to determine what needs to stay and what needs to go. And then the things that we decide to keep, we're going to clean. And then the 4th step is going to be to get rid of whatever no longer serves us, no longer useful, whatever's broken, whatever is not going to function for us. That's going to be the items that we get rid of. And then lastly, number 5 step is to create a dedicated, accessible space in order for us to contain these items, but also be able to access them so that we know where they are when we need them. And then also it encourages us, as well as others in our home, to return these items to that specific space so that we can find them again. All right, I'm going to go through each one of these steps and discuss them a little bit more so that you get more of an overview, and I thank you so much for being here. Okay, so step 1 is gather. So what you want to do is get a basket, bin, or box, and you want to gather all of those similar items together. I call them themed items because I call it thematic organizing, because they all have a similar theme. So for example, it could be all the components and paraphernalia, peripherals to your handheld devices. So that could be your charging cords, for example, your charging plugs, your earbuds, your cases. So you want to gather everything associated with that specific item or items that you want to organize. So go through your house, check your kitchen, check the bedside table, check your car, check your purse, any place that you would house those kind of items, or they're just kind of migrate in specific locations in your home. So grab your bin, box, or basket and go gather. And then we're going to get all of those items together in one space so that we can see what we have, and then we'll be able to go on to step 2, which is going to be grouping. Okay, now that we have gathered all of the items that we want to organize, now we're going to group them. So these are specific types of items, and we've been using the example handheld devices and all the accessories that go with those. But this could be anything in your home. We're going to, after we gather, we're going to do step 2, which is called grouping. We're going to group them together. For example, using our handheld devices, we may have charging cords that go with our cell phone. We may have charging cords that go with our tablets. We may have earbuds that go with a specific device. So we're going to group those together. So all of the items that go with the phone are going to go with the phone charger cords, the earbuds that go with your phone, any kind of phone accessory that you have, and this is going to be your phone cases, anything that you have to go with the phone is going to go in one group. Then you may have a different accessory, such as maybe your digital watch or your tablet. Those may be different charging cords and adapters and earbuds, so those are going to go in a different group. But whatever kind of groupings stand out with you, once you've gathered everything, you're going to see specific groups, and in research we call it themes emerging. So there's going to be certain categories that just kind of stand out for you. So just kind of go with the flow of what those categories speak to you, and then group those items by those categories. And then we're going to move on to the 3rd step, which is to go through and clean. Okay, now that we have gathered and grouped our specific items, we're going to go on to step 3, which is go through and clean. So once we have our groups, we're going to start to go through. And going through process this is the most important process, because this is the time where we start to purge what no longer resonates with us, which is no longer useful. Because if it's not useful, if it's not enhancing the way we look and feel or how we live, then it's clutter. So this is the time to be very decisive about what works for you. Now, there's a few strategies for this, and this is just how it resonates with you. When you pick up this item, if it doesn't jive with your vibe, or if it doesn't fit your frequency, or it just is something that you just it doesn't match your energy, it really needs to go. So that's the first criteria for me. If it just doesn't work, if it no longer serves me, if it's no longer something that I feel energetically positive about, then it's going to go. The next way I want to go through is I want to look at effectiveness and repair. So if it's in good working order, if the cord is broke or frayed in your charging cord, using our example for handheld devices, it just needs to go. If it doesn't work anymore, it just needs to go. You may need to go through a process of trying some things. If the charging plug doesn't work anymore. These are just examples, but it kind of fits the go through process. If it doesn't work, it's broken, if it needs repair, if it's no longer functioning, if it's something that's not going to work for you anymore to enhance your happiness and be useful to you, then it's time to let it go. Okay, so as we go through that process and we're going through all of the items that we have, we also want to clean them. So you may want to take whatever cleaner is appropriate. So you could use a soft cloth with your Listerine spray to disinfect any items. just to kind of clean the surface. Check to make sure that, you know, there's no sticky residue on anything, that it looks clean, it feels clean, because that's important for us to be able to interact with that item. We avoid things that we physically feel are dirty. If we have that visceral reaction that it's dirty, or it's gunky, or it's just our whole body chemistry, our whole body imagery, energy is going to avoid. So we just won't be using that item, and it might simply be because it needs cleaning. So go ahead and clean each item that you are going to keep. And then separate the things that you're going to purge and put those in a box, and we will deal with those at the end step. Okay, step number 4 is to get rid of. Whatever is no longer serving you, we've already set aside in step 3 after our go-through process. It is time to purge. If you have that urge to purge. Now, for some of us, we may be a little bit indecisive about a particular item or two. Listen to your visceral reaction. Listen to your body. Listen to the energy of the interaction with that. If it's something that's negative, or just kind of you feel this avoidance energy, it's time to let it go. So if it's no longer useful to you, it's time to let it go. If it's something that it just doesn't enhance your life or your happiness, it's time to let it go. So you don't have to justify. You don't have to have an argument with yourself. It's just a matter of yes or no. Feel the energy. Should I keep it? Should I not? Go with that flow of energy, and that's going to tell you what is going to resonate with your highest and greatest good. So for those items that we are going to purge, for those of us who like to kind of go back and reconsider, and then we end up pulling everything back out of the box, you may want to put it in the trunk of your vehicle for donating, or put it in the garbage can for disposal. So it's either donate or dispose. And if it's still useful to somebody else, it's a donate. If it is absolutely broken beyond repair, it is a dispose. So that is step 4. Get rid of whatever no longer serves you or enhances your happiness. It's as simple as a yes or a no. Go with the flow of that energy. Then we'll move on to step 5. Wow, okay, so that wasn't so hard. We're at step 5, and this is really a critical step, because this is where we create a framework of organization within our home to make the items in our home accessible, useful, and it also helps in replacing items in their original storage area. So this helps keep our house cleaner, because we put things away. If we create a dedicated space for specific items in our home, we are more likely to put them away. Others in our home are also more likely to put them away. So what we want to do is create a dedicated place to store these items. Now, this could be a drawer, it could be a bin, it could be a basket, it could be a box, it could be in a closet, it could be in a decorative storage device, you know, that you use as kind of a decorative element in your home. But what you want to do is create that dedicated space. Now, the dedicated space needs to be appropriate for the storage of that type of item. For example, we don't want to put all of our handheld devices and all the accessories that go with them in a box in the top of the closet, because they're not accessible. It needs to be kind of practically accessible. So it might be that you store them in your entertainment center, or that might be that you store them in a storage a dresser, in a bin or a box where you can access them easily. The more easily you can access your items, the more likely you are to use them, and then they actually enhance our lives. They make our lives easier, and that's what we invested in these items for. That is the purpose. So we want to make sure that we're facilitating the use of these items to capitalize on our investment, so that we can use them to enhance our life, to make our lives easier, more beautiful, better, more positive. And that's my whole goal for you, is to help you enhance your happiness and transform your life. So as we go through this organizational process, which I call thematic organizing of these specific items in our home, we want to make them so that we're enhancing our lives. Okay, so just create that dedicated space. It could be anywhere in your home that is a logical, practical place to store these type of items. So just kind of figure that out, what's going to be easy to access. If you have to move a thing or two to access them, it's not going to work for you. If it's a high frequency use item, you want it more toward the front, more available, more accessible than having to put it at the back of a drawer where you're really going to have to reach in, or if you have to move something in order to access it, you're going to be less likely to use it. So keep those ideas in mind as you create the dedicated space for these items. If it is something that you use frequently, make them very readily accessible. So let's just recap the 5 steps to organize anything in your home, any group of items. The first step is to gather. Go gather them. Get them all in a group. That way you can see what you have, see what you're working with, see what you need. And then you're going to know how big of a dedicated space you're going to need in order to store those items to make them accessible. Number 2 is group them. Make sure that you have the groupings, kind of the categories together so that you are able to access those items more easily without having to dig through a bunch of items. Number 3, you're going to go through and clean. So go through what no longer, what's good and what's no longer good, and what serves you, what no longer serves you, what fits your frequency, what no longer fits your frequency, what jives with your vibe, or what no longer jives with your vibe. Make those decisions and then clean the items that you're going to keep. Number 4, get rid of. Purge whatever no longer serves you, what no longer jives with your vibe, no longer fits with your frequency, that visceral reaction, this doesn't work for me. No justification needed. And then lastly, create that dedicated space in which you want to store those items to be able to have them accessible, safe, convenient, and practical. So those are the 5 steps that we can take to organize any group of items in our home. I am the Organizer Advisor, trying to give you my best advice on how to enhance your happiness and transform your life. Until next time, thank you so much for being here.